Manchester City 1, Chelsea 0. The title race is over. A limp performance in the end from the Stamford Bridge outfit. Lukaku missing their best chance of the game early in the second half. KDB puts the game to bed. 13 points clear at the top. They're running away with it. Chelsea fans, we want to hear from you. City fans, we want to hear from you. This is the Football Terrace and the ultimate match reaction. Smash that like and share button. Here we go.
Absolutely magnificent.
Chelsea fall out of the title race today. Of course, not officially, not even mathematically out of the title race. There's still many games to go, but 13 points behind Manchester City. Their title race is over. It well and truly is. Today was the day where they had to step up. Today was the day where they had to lay a glove on Manchester City. Today was the day when they had to make themselves be counted. They had to lay down that marker and say, we will not be defeated, shrink the gap from 10 to 7, give themselves hope. Two big opportunities, both messed up by Lukaku today, firing another blank in another big game. A lot of Chelsea fans on social media angry. £100 million, no delivery in the most important moments of the match. And again, I think it's another one of them games where if you're a critic of Lukaku, people are going to be on him. And I think people have every single right to be on him. There's no doubt about it for what he did in that game. It was a boring match overall. It opened up a little bit after KDB's wonderful strike. And look, I'm taking nothing away from Man City. They deserved it. They were the better team. What was it? 11 shots to 44 in the game. Very, very low in terms of outputs and productivity. It didn't have it didn't. I thought that Chelsea would have been more aggressive, but it was almost like they were too scared to lose the football match. Too scared to lose the football match. And look, Liverpool play tomorrow. They have a chance of going back in front of Chelsea, but Liverpool fans would have been hoping for a Chelsea win today as well. City need to drop points, and it's over now. 13 points, and even more so over Liverpool. I know they've got a game in hand, 2 games in hand if you count tomorrow, but you've got to win those matches. Most anticipate Chelsea will fall further behind when they're away. Of course, they most likely will when they're away for the World Club Championship. Liverpool, it's going to be interesting to see how they get through these next few games without Mohamed Salah and Mane, but it is all falling into place for Manchester City. It really, really is. Lukaku is the worst player in the Prem. Haven't seen a player run away from play as much as he has in the last few games. Get him out of the club is what Red Wolf thinks of that right here. And it's interesting you say that because he took the shot early in the second half. Needs to do better. £100 million striker. You've got to score those opportunities. Clutch moment time. What stood out to me, though, was the first opportunity. He did very well to get away from Laporte. He's going through on goal. The ball's on his left foot. You take the shot. He tries some intricate reverse pass to play in his teammate. I think it was Ziyech, who was already offside. It doesn't matter who it was. No vision, no intelligence. But more importantly than that, when it comes to Lukaku in that circumstance, was the lack of bottle, the lack of bravery. He wanted to pass responsibility over to his teammate. And I understand completely why Chelsea fans are angry with him today. And they've had absolutely every single right to be. Looks like Chelsea didn't understand how to execute Arsenal's blueprint. Daniel in the mud. James here says, Arsenal, Spurs off, Arsenal disgrace. Oh, I knew that earlier on today. I was told by somebody at Arsenal it was done. I was weren't allowed to tweet about it. If you're in the private Football Terrace notifications group chat, you would have seen that update a number of hours ago. A few people asking here about Cancelo's red card. Well, look, tell me what you think. Should he have been sent off? Explain why you think so. Let me know what you think. We're going to be having a panel on soon with David. Going to have Jem in the panel. Patrick, a Man City fan. We're going to get Tom in the panel. We're going to hear from Zane, though. We're going to have calls from Zane, calls from Chesney, calls from G Certified as well. They're going to come and give us their thoughts and their feelings. So stay with the Terrace. Stay here. Don't go anywhere else. No, Terry, Pooley and Ziyech were the worst players. Oh, I'm not letting anybody off the hook. Chelsea were rank today. They were absolutely rank. They were absolutely rank in every single which way, shape, and form. You can't get away from that. However, Lukaku is £100 million player. 2 opportunities to put Chelsea in the lead in today's game. The first he bottled. Should have been shooting, but he tried to pass to a teammate. He tried to move responsibility onto somebody else. I don't want to see that. I wouldn't want to see that from my £100 million leading man. You want your striker taking the shots in those circumstances. If he misses, he misses. He then has the one-on-one opportunity going through on goal. He takes a shot early with the goalkeeper off his line. You bend it past the goalie and into the goal. You give Chelsea that 1-0 lead. Lukaku today, as he has done for the majority of his Premier League life, is a flat track bully. And I'm one of these people that was willing to, okay, let's come back to Chelsea. Let's give him a little bit more time. We saw him struggling in big games for Man United, went away to Italy, killed it. Come back to the Prem. Right. What's he going to do in the big games now? There's no excuse of a bad manager, as he had with Jose, all toxic and nasty, dinosaur football past his best. There's no excuses of not having a good squad around him. He wasn't having to play with Trashford. He wasn't having to play with the flop formerly known as Alexis Sanchez. He didn't have a midfield of McFred behind him. All the excuses afforded to Lukaku by his supporters are removed when he joined Chelsea. Point blank. Those 2 chances today, you could forgive him if he wasn't doing this in nearly every single big game he plays in. Seldom scores, very rarely has a decisive performance, and at £100 million, you need him. Without a shadow of a doubt. Of course, your players that cost your 40, your 50, your £60 million players also deserve criticism. But Lukaku today was absolutely atrocious, and this is a pattern in his Premier League career. Serie A tax is real crap. Players like Seri do well. Congrats to City on winning the league. Lukaku can go back to Inter. He is a coward, is what's being said here. A lot of people calling him a coward. Proud of the squad, depleted and still put a fight in. Wanted Kai up top, never wanted Lukaku. Pulisic and Ziyech were on the wrong side. Farmers League, lol, is what's said here by Juan Mata, who's still proud of his CFC, that's happy with his squad. Also, Kepa attacks, long shots, totally weak. In fairness, I don't think Mendy would have saved KDB's shot. KDB did what Lukaku should have done. He bent it around the goalkeeper, put the curve on the ball, so the goalie couldn't get to it. If his arm was a foot longer, it may not have got to it. Maybe it's a foot longer, but do you know what I'm saying? His arm ain't going to be that much longer. He'd be able to scrap. He'd be able to itch his feet without bending down. But even if his arms are 2, 3, 4 inches longer, I don't think he would have saved that, my friend. I don't think Kepa should take the blame. Made a great save in the first half to stop Jack Grealish. It is a disgrace. Lukaku thinks he can be Drogba. Tuchel will never win the Premier League, is what this Man City fan here has got to say. Let's keep it coming. Remember, when you're super chatting, have a guess at the secret phrase that's right there in the envelope behind me. You might win yourself a PlayStation 5. Tim's was consistently bad against Juve and Milan. Fair enough. I don't watch the league over there, so I don't watch Serie A, so I'm not going to overtly judge it. But if that was the case, then there we go. Poor to go at Lukaku. No service, not right. I'm Daily. I respect your super chat and I appreciate the donation, but I respectfully disagree with you. I disagree with you. Of course, he isn't the only reason Chelsea lost. I tweeted about it. Get the ball in the box. There are times he was making the runs and it wasn't coming in. And I'm going to speak to the Chelsea fans about that. But he had 2 of the best chances in the game and he messed them both up. I think the reality is that this City machine will be impossible to dismantle. The only hope I see for the league is for them to crumble when Pep leaves. 4 league titles in the last 5 years. Yeah, look, they've got Fergie-level dominance. Fergie's Man United team dominance right now this team has in the Premier League, and it's very hard to stop. You are right. Thank you very much, Andrew. Talk about Kevin De Bruyne's goal. Excellent. What was great about it is that he'd already beaten with the best holding midfield player, the best defensive midfield player in the world in N'Golo Kante. And he didn't even look set and balanced before he got that shot off. And KDB started the season really slowly, looked past these best, a lot of people writing him off. And he has really, really stepped it up to the next level again, proving why he is one of the very best attacking midfield players in the world. Also proving that bad form is what it is, bad form. The old adage of form is temporary, class is permanent. Look at Pulisic and Ziyech. Are they better than Rashford? See, we're now redefining. I'm talking about what was said when he arrived. And for me, most Chelsea fans have told me for a long time that Pulisic is better than Marcus Rashford. So I'm going to accept that as their thought on it, to be fair. Ziyech was terrible and Puli wasn't bad. When we had touches, they were playing conservative and Lukaku didn't take advantage, is what Mark's got to say here. LR9 is the type of player you bring in on the 80th minute to score a header when your team is pressing. Apart from that, he's garbage. Get him out of our club. Chelsea fans not happy with Lukaku today. Terry, you and your headings feeding into the hatred of Lukaku. You never say Ronaldo flops on your headings. It's poor and incites trolls. I'm really sorry you feel that way. It's my opinion. And I'm inciting nobody to do anything to Lukaku. I am not responsible for anything anybody does to Lukaku. That is on those adults, children, women, whatever they are. That's on them. I'm giving you my honest football opinion. Lukaku cannot miss those chances and then not be criticized because a troll that maybe doesn't even watch me tweets him something. By that standard, we never criticize anything in this world. Let's not criticize anybody in case somebody trolls them. This is football. This is a reaction show, my brother. And DJ, I respect you. You're a long-time viewer, long-term super chatter. I'm criticizing Lukaku. I didn't say he was the only problem, but in my opinion, he has to be criticized for what I see as a dog breath performance. Dog breath. Absolute dog breath. The bad one. Watch again. Kepa dive late as usual. I will take a look at that again. Terry, Lukaku will not get any sort of glory whilst playing with these crap creators, but Mendy would have saved it. His arms are way longer than Kepa's, is what's been said there. DJ, it's a disgrace with those City fans that say TT will never win the league. Not this season, I agree. Yeah, I agree with you. Listen, I think Tuchel's got more than enough ability to win a Premier League title. As good as City were, Grealish was useless, is what James thinks. Huge donation here for the Terrace. Thank you so much, Nav. He says, let's be real. Ziyech needs to go. Werner, Pulisic, Barkley, Alonso, Lukaku. Because F him, I don't know. I don't know. Just well done, City. Realistic Chelsea fans know these players have to go. In reality, they ain't good enough. Most of them have been performing like this for 2 years. And look, I look at Ziyech and I do look at Pulisic. This is what I said. You know me? This is where I have those moments of vindication. I test merchants in the mud. Do you know why the likes of Pulisic and Ziyech get a free ride from a lot of people? Because when they're bad, they look good doing it. I would rather someone that looks terrible but scores and creates over someone that looks great but doesn't score and create. Of course, the utopia is to have someone who looks great scoring and creating as an attacker. But these guys get a free ride because they look good being bad. They look techie when they're bad. Oh, that skill nearly come off, bruv. I remember a very famous example of that. I remember Pulisic I don't remember what game it was in, but I remember the clip was going around of this. It was a badass skill. It was like, wow. He did the skill, beat a man. He then overhit the pass by about 30 yards. It's like, why would you celebrate the skill when the simple pass after was bad? The simple pass is the bit you should focus on. Because basically, these guys are like freestyle footballers. They're like F2, bruv. All the skills, all the tricks, all the tech. Oh, techie, bruv, techie. Oh, I look so good. My G, look how good a baller he ain't a good fucking baller. He ain't delivering. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what they are, some of these footballers nowadays? You know, you get those guys that look really good hitting a punch bag, But they get into a real fight and they get sparked because they can't fight. They look good throwing punches, got the body. Yeah. When they hit the bag, they got the growl. They get into the ring against elite level opponents and they cower away. I've been telling you all before, never trust an eye test merchant. Never trust somebody who takes style over substance. Those people are losers. They are losers in life. They are the guy who's got they're the guys that are like, I didn't make it in the football team because I had a bad ankle. I got dropped because the coach didn't like me. Oh, I wasn't allowed to play because the teachers didn't like me. Oh, I was going to go, but my dad made me stay home. Oh, they dropped me for this. They dropped me for that. These are those guys that were wicked in the playground, but were no good in real football matches because they weren't good football players. Having a good touch and a good pass and good skills doesn't make you a good football player. First and foremost, deliver. Second, look good doing it. Not the other way around, ever. And today's an example. Thank you again for proving that point right. There's a difference between good places versus, I think you mean players, versus world class. Chelsea fans are so emotional about players who has to go. They are simply not world class. Pulisic, Ziyech, Mount, Lukaku, Alonso are only good. Thank you, G, for your comment. Just imagine if Lukaku was in that City team. Listen, I still think he misses those chances. I still think he misses those chances. I still think he bottles the big occasion. Big 4-4, no safety. Do you reckon Lukaku got enough service today? No, of course they could have given him more service. Of course they could have given him more service. But at the same time, in these tight matches, sometimes you only get 2 or 3. City didn't have lots and lots of clear-cut chances. But then KDB, who is clutch, stepped up at the right time. I didn't think KDB had that great a game today. Didn't think he had the great game. Good, not great. Came up trumps. When it comes to the elite end of the game, every inch matters. And of course, criticize Ziyech and Pulisic. But they're a level below where Lukaku's famed up to be. Terry, Chelsea are what, and United are what? Just a thought. Listen, my club are in the mud. I know how bad Man United are. I'm not defending my club by saying something negative about another one. But Man United being bad doesn't get Lukaku, Ziyech, Pulisic off the hook today. It just doesn't, strip bear. Congrats to City. You deserve to be champions. That is from a Chelsea fan. Tuchel got the front three wrong today. Subs too late as well, is what Bob's got to say. Hipsters think every stylistic footballer is Dino. Of course they do. It's just, honestly, it's embarrassing to see. Terry said a long time ago, Mount is West Ham level. Listen, but I also apologized and said Mount ended up becoming a lot better than I thought he would. My opinion will change if I'm wrong. Because I'm a grown-ass man. You can say, yeah, I'm wrong about that. I think he's better. I could not believe he didn't start today. Couldn't believe it. It's an absolute madness that he didn't start today. Crazy, in fact. It's okay to admit we own this league the way Bayern own the league. Haven't forgot the preseason talk will be respected one way or another, is what man like Wesley has got to say. Deduct Arsenal and Spurs 30 points. Yeah, I knew the Arsenal game was going to be called off. We're doing a space on Twitter at about 4 o'clock. So tune into that there. That's when we're going to delve into that because I've got a lot to say, and not about Arsenal, about the Premier League. I'm actually going to give you a trigger warning. Don't come to the space if you want to sit there and defend your football club. This ain't about defending your football club. It's about condemning the Premier League. So trigger warning. Mount playing 12 minutes. We got embarrassed again. Always agendas in our club. Man City are clear of everyone. Man like Daniel. Long time no super chat, Daniel. I really appreciate that, brother. Thank you. Lukaku was walking all game and was tired. Was tiring up his football. Tying up his football laces. I don't know what you're saying here. Was walking around all game and was tying up his football boot laces. Right, okay, sorry, I misread that. Terry, we are pathetic. I love Tuchel, but this loss is on him. We seem to be scared against Man City. Well, look, lots of opinions here, lots of things being said. We're going to get the panel on soon, but I'm going to go to some calls first of all. G Certified's coming on first. Actually, no, I'm going to go to Chesney first, who is a Chelsea fan, as we know. Hit the like and share button. Let's do this. Ches, give me your thoughts on Chelsea's game today.
It's a really poor game, man. Like, the attack was non-existent. We were too defensive. We sat back the whole game. We didn't learn from our mistakes from the last game where, last game where we sat back, invited all the pressure, was basically 10 men behind the ball. We kind of reverted to type. Not to the extent, but it was just crap, the whole thing. And I hate what you're saying with the Lukaku thing, but this happens all the time. We can see he's trying to get the ball over the top to him, and the players aren't playing towards his strengths. And I know, and the fact that he is 100 million is the point where you have to play to his strengths. And we're just not doing that. And the chances he had, yes, he could have done better, especially the first one, I think. Second one's, it's difficult. It's a shot. You've got 3 men around you, I understand. The first one, he's to do a lot better. Just take a touch, control himself, go for a shot. Open up the ball, give it to Alonso. He just panicked, give it back to Ziyech, and it was a chance gone. But back to my point, the fact he's 100 million should mean he's the focal point. I don't think we're playing to him to his strengths. He wants to go over the top. He wants to bully defenders. And all we're doing right now is moving like he's the next Peter Crouch. Make him hold it up. He's not really that great at that. Use his pace. Not once did we see his pace today.
Yeah, I agree.
And then I understand what you're saying. The whole agenda, I get it. He's 100 million. He's the main guy. He's meant to prove himself. He's back at Chelsea. Rare tear. But you got to be real. The players around him were crap. What did Ziyech do today? Yeah, you can't answer. He did nothing. What did the thing do today? Pulisic has been rubbish for time. I don't know why he started. Werner, Hudson-Odoi come on, and the last 10 minutes, I know there are chances, but we're a lot more fluid up front. There's a lot more in movements going on. Even Werner with his dodgy touches, running him behind. He has something to use for. Pulisic comes towards the ball, daddles, goes back. He reminds me of Rashford in that way. They're both crap, to be honest. If people compare Rashford and him, they're both playing bad. And that's why I'm frustrated today, because I expect us to be a little bit better and learn from mistakes from last game, and we didn't do that.
Yeah.
It's very disappointing, and it's an indictment on how far away we are from the league in terms of the difference in quality today was obviously we have close games against them all the time, so that's fair enough. But the fact that they were able to still create chances within a tight game and we weren't kind of showed the difference. And the chances we did have, we just weren't clinical at all. So that's why it's very frustrating, the Chelsea fan right now.
Mate, I hear you completely. And look, the Premier League season for you now looks over in terms of a title race. It's basically, look, you're in a League Cup final, you're still in the FA Cup, you're still in the Champions League. So there's a lot to play for Chelsea now. But is it a case of prioritizing those cups and almost just to a degree sacrificing the Premier League games now? Rotate for Premier League games and be your absolute best for all the cups.
No, I think we should still have the mentality of we can still win the league, purely because if we're trying to push on, having the mentality of, we've lost it, might as well give up now, is a poor mentality to bring to next season. Especially as a lot of the deadwood will be gone. Alonso, I think, will be gone. And one of the attackers, probably Pulisic, could probably be gone. So it's going to be a new change. We can't have the mentality of, we're already out of it. Let's just focus on the Champions League. No, don't do that. Focus on the league. It's been a long time now. 5 years now, whatever, 4 or 5 years. That's too long to be in the league. 5, 6 years, sorry. That's too long to be in the league. So I'm not having the mentality of, it's over, let it go, champ. No, win every game in the Premier League, prove we can actually push on. Else, we're going to end up being second, third, fourth in the near future and become that kind of club where, and then the values start dropping. I know Abraham will have it, but the squad's mentality is kind of dissipating every single season.
I hear you on that, bro. Cheers. Great call, mate. It's actually good to speak to you and a good connection as well. It really is. My brother, we'll speak again soon. Top man. Thank you. Really appreciate that, bro. Next, G Certified is on, but Nav put another super chat in here. He says, I don't know what they teach American players, what to take 50 touches and then try Messi everyone. No, just pass the effing ball. I'm even questioning if we buy players from the German league. The tax is real. That's a conversation we're going to be having when the panel comes out. Don't you worry. G Certified, though, Man City fan in here. Basically champions today. How you feeling, bro?
Man, I'm feeling good, Terry, man. I'm feeling good, first of all. What can I say? Back-to-back titles 2 times, maybe? Like, another back-to-back title? Like, you can't really say anything else. And I've just come chill always because I know what my team's going to do. I literally said that I think we're going to win 2-0. I didn't 1-0, I'll take it. But the problem for me today was just that it was just like we could have even scored more. Like, we should have scored more. There was a few opportunities, and I was just a little bit at the end. I was thinking, what if they score at the end? But it was just controlled. Like, I just don't feel any stress when I'm watching football anymore. Like, before it was stress, you never know what can happen. Maybe the Liverpool 89 season, but now I just feel like everything's just so like just everyone's relaxed. Like the whole fan base. Like every time I'm speaking to City fans, everyone's happy. So it's a good feeling to have. But I think Chelsea, I think they tried, but as long as they've got Chilwell and Reece James out, I think they could keep dropping points because it's not just this game. They've been dropping points, Brighton, Everton. So
no, they haven't. I don't think they've kept a clean sheet in 10 Premier League games now.
in 10, and they were saying that was
the
solid.
10 Premier League games, and that's why I asked the previous call, and we'll get the panel out. Like Chelsea and Liverpool have to guard against potentially being dragged into a top 4 race because, for me, it's already disastrous that they're not in a title race. Yeah. If they get dragged down further, it becomes a calamity of a season, just like Manchester United's. And I think they need to guard against that massively. In terms of yourselves, though, like where'd you go? What is the I know the winning titles is important. Like 4 leagues in 5 years is tremendous. Back to back, pretty much now secured twice. You know, the only other team ever to do that is Manchester United. You must be on cloud 9 right now as a City fan.
Yeah, and it was just because the game could have went much different. I think Ederson, I've been hearing a lot of talk about Ederson, and I've been saying for time, as a keeper, you can make a few mistakes, but he's not as bad as people think at shot stopping. And today, I think people don't watch a lot of City games apart from maybe the big ones because Ederson has been doing this for quite a time. He might, like Aston Villa, he made a key save when they could have got a draw. He's been making big saves throughout the season, but today, obviously Lukaku should have finished it a little bit better, but I still think Ederson was good for coming out a little bit early, making himself big. John Stones, another player that I absolutely love. John Stones, I think he should be starting game in, week out. He should be our first choice centre back with Diaz for the season because he just makes the defense look so much more relaxed. And that's just how I feel. I'm happy that obviously Bernardo had another good game, but he's just been doing this for quite a few seasons. But I'd seen a super chat before about Lukaku tying up his lace. And it's true, I was looking, I think we're 1-0 up, and he just goes on his knee and starts doing his lace. And I'm thinking, does he actually want to fight for the team? Even you see players like in the low leagues, like chase for the ball, not do their laces. You see teams fighting for relegation. So what makes a player like 100 million not want to tie his, can he not wait until the ball goes out to tie his lace? He needs to show more fight if he wants to stay in that team.
I hear you. Listen, G Certified, great call as ever, my friend. Thanks for coming on the terrace and having your say. Appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you, Terry. Big up.
Cheers, bro. Thank you. Panel coming out in a few moments. We are going to take calls during panel conversations today. So the link's in the comment section. If you want to come on, if you want to express yourself and have a say, keep them super chats coming in as well. But my panel's on its way now. We've got Jem, David. We've got Man City fan Patrick. We've got 2 Liverpool fans who I think have got a dog in this fight today with Tom and Zane coming on the show now. Stay with us. There's no better place to be. And if you want to phone in and have your say, the link is pinned into the live comment section. Let's do this. Welcome back, everyone. Obviously, a poor day. A poor day for Chelsea today. So we're going to start with David. Give me your thoughts on that game, that performance, and everything else that went on today.
The game went how I thought it would. City have most.
Sit up.
Sorry,
you're about 9 foot tall.
Sorry, right. Game went how I thought it would be. City have most of the possession, so that's not you can say they dominated us, but it's what they do to most teams. So I'm not too fussed about that. What actually came down with this game is that the game is 2 moments. The 2 moments, maybe 3 moments, but the main moment is that our £100 million striker gets paid through on goal 1-1 and he missed it, and their actual world-class player went and scored. That's the difference between the 2 teams. It's in the clutch moment, their players show up and our main player doesn't show up at all. I was confused with the lineup, but you know what? they actually didn't play as bad as I thought. I thought like even Kepa was pretty decent. Even though you could argue he could save the goal, I just think it's a great finish. I think it's just a great finish. So I'm not too annoyed, but it's like it's frustrating when you buy someone for 100 mil and you're expecting a lot, and when you tell everyone this guy's not worth 100 mil, I need some apologies from people, because at the start of the season I said to everyone this guy is not worth 100 mil, and everyone came at my head and said all Chelsea need is a striker. It's not that we needed a striker, we needed a good striker. What we bought is Tammy Abraham who goes to the gym. That's what we've bought. Like honestly, that's all we Tammy Abraham's main thing was he scores against small teams, but in the big game he does nothing, and that's exactly what Lukaku does. He's like for 100 mil, it's just frustrating to watch. It's really frustrating.
Jem, what's your take on this, bro? I mean, on Lukaku, because he 2 big opportunities today, and he absolutely. And then the first one for me was worse than the shot that was saved. The first one for me was just, I can't believe he. What striker passes when there's an opportunity to score, Jem? You're on mute, bro. You're on mute. You need to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, bro.
I said Lukaku. That's the one that's the striker that decides to pass Lukaku. But at the end of the day, if we're just talking about Lukaku before I talk about the game, let's get it right. This guy is not an £100 million striker. I was being told by Chelsea fans on social media that this guy that's coming from Inter Milan, as his touch has improved, his hold up plays improved. He's always scored goals, but he's consistent of scoring goals. If you look at his conversion rate against how many shots he creates, in front of goal, how many of them he turns around, it's high, this, that, and the other. Let's get it right? And I'm not even going to talk about the goals right now. Forget the goals for a second, yeah? This is not the first game where I've actually sat there and watched Lukaku not be able to hold the ball up. So he doesn't relieve any pressure off our team when we're trying to get out of the pitch. Not able to win one header. Literally, he does not win one single header. Yeah, he gets in front of goal. He mucks up. He makes the wrong decision with the first one when he should have played it to either Alonso and took on the shot. But he gives it to Ziyech when he's miles offside because he's looking at his feet. He's not looking up. And on the second one, he's got all the time in the world. He tries to bend it around Ederson, which again for me was the wrong decision to do. But when you look at his all-round game, and they all go on about, you don't create, we don't create chances. We don't play to Lukaku's strengths. That's the biggest problem. The biggest problem is Lukaku's overall game, right? He had, if you look at today's stats on him, I've got him here, right? His accurate passing is only 58%, right? His aerial duels, he had 7 aerial duels and he won 0. He didn't win one of them, all right? Yeah. He lost possession in the whole game 10 times. 10 fucking times. I'm sorry. It's not good enough from your striker, who's meant to be £100 million, and I get told is world class. When you look at this Chelsea team and you look at all the world class players we've got with Kante and Thiago Silva, he's the other one.
Do you know what's funny, Jem? Do you know what's funny, Jem, about all this as well? This is, I think some Chelsea fans were taken in by Ollie Outers. I blame Ollie Outers a bit for this as well. And let me tell you why. They were the ones that were telling, I don't watch Serie A, so I don't know how he was doing. Apart from seeing his name on the score sheet a lot, I don't know what he was doing over there. I don't watch that league. As you said, touches improved, build-up plays improved, etc., etc. Ollie Outers and a lot of Man United fans are like, oh my God, we let Lukaku go. Ollie's an idiot. He left us with this guy and that guy. He's amazing. He's world-class. Firstly, it proves people don't watch other leagues. They just check the results, play FIFA, and pretend they're watching it. The one thing I remember, like Neeks has said it all year. A lot of United fans said it all year. They're intrigued to see whether Lukaku's game has improved, and it hasn't. He makes the same mistakes as he was making at Man United. He on too many occasions, he disrupts the attacking play. His touch is too heavy. Like today, he had a touch, but the ball like half rolled up his leg and onto his back. He couldn't do that if he tried. Right. Like Ronaldinho couldn't do that if he tried to. What infuriates me about football fans is that they lie. They lie about their football knowledge. He's improved this, he's improved that. Oh, this manager's trash because he got rid of him. He's doing so well here now. Lukaku is not good enough.
He's not
to be a world-class striker in the Premier League. He just isn't. He just isn't. I don't care.
The amount of times,
awful.
Just quickly, sorry, just to finish off. The amount of times we got the ball up to him, he had no player around him Sometimes he didn't even have pressure on him. He turns around and his first touch he takes is so heavy that he has to kind of like challenge with the City defender because he took such a heavy touch when he has no player around him. Yeah, we lose the ball. Yeah, they hit us on the counter, and I think it was Sterling. He nearly goes and scores. That happened twice in the game where we lose the ball. He loses the ball, and we nearly pay for it, all because of his bad touch and the incapability of being able to hold the ball. It's not good enough. I'm sorry. If you've got standards for at your football club and you care about Chelsea, this is not the standard right now. And it's not just him, because we're talking about him now. It's not good enough.
It isn't. Obviously, I want to speak to. I'm going to go to Patrick. We are talking Man City on this show as well. Stay with us. We are going to talk about what went wrong today also. Zane, what's on your mind? Like we're speaking Lukaku here. Is Lukaku a problem for Chelsea in your opinion?
I've called him out from the start. I mean, I feel sorry for Jem and David at the bottom because the real liar, the real fraud that's missing on this panel, Mr. Big 4 for no safety, Daniel. This guy was bigging this guy up for time, and you knew from days at Man United, you knew from Everton, you knew what kind of player he is. The fact that at 10 minutes, when he had the chance to shoot at goal, he passed it off to Ziyech, shows what a coward he is, right? Let's be real. He was an absolute coward, a waste of space, and then he has the audacity to call out the club, and then suddenly you get all these Chelsea boys forgiving him after a couple of days. The biggest cuck, again, Daniel, so I'm sorry I don't want to go into Daniel too hard, but he's a cuck, man, because it's like Lukaku cheating on you, not with a postman, not with a milkman, with the dust man, with the garbage man, do you get me? And stinking up the sheets, bruv. And then you forgive him for everything, right? Because you think there's a player in there where he's proven time and time again he's not a player. And I feel bad because he's going to get the blame. But one thing I don't understand, because that game was boring to watch. And one thing that showed me clearly was that this team ain't no title contending team. This team is just a top 4 team with a chance in cups, bruv. Because the way Tuchel set up for this game, he set up like a Bournemouth, like a Sheffield United. You know, I don't care about this hybrid back 5, back 3 nonsense, bruv. He was parking the bus and doing the counter-attack. It was embarrassing. As a Chelsea fan, I'd rather go out my team fighting to try and win, but not playing the way they did. They were literally playing not to lose, and it was boring. It was bad. It was
but
the only time they had a bit of getting goals at the last 10 minutes when they had to go for it. So all these people saying Tuchel's a tactical mastermind, all that kind of stuff. He's another coward, man. I mean, I'm sorry,
Zane. We can't. First of all, right? Again, if you actually think about what happened in the game, it literally came down to about 2 or 3 moments. So to say that Tuchel was like massively outclassed doesn't make sense. Also, we can't play this dramatic attacking style of football because right now, simply we don't have the players. Our 2 fullbacks are a 33-year-old Aspi and Marcus Alonso, who's got no pace anyway.
David,
so if you send them forward constantly, they're going to get exposed around the back. That happened today. Sterling in the first 6 minutes ran around the back of him and got yellow.
I asked the question at the beginning of this game, right? Why do you pick Ziyech, Pulisic and Lukaku, who have never played together, by the way, in a game against Man City that you need to win, knowing that them 3 are your worst pressers, literally our worst pressers out of the forward line? Why did we go down that route? And we have to look at Tuchel a little bit on that decision, because he got it wrong for me. He should have made his substitutions a lot earlier in that game. He didn't in the first half. I would have done it at half-time. Half-time, you change it. You throw on Havertz. For me, Havertz should have started that game. Mason Mount could have come on in the second half. He brought him on a bit late. Timo Werner should have came in. Like, for me, we just got it wrong completely. We left it too late in the game to try and, to impose ourselves on it. And it ended up backfiring on us completely.
It did. Terry Silver here says, Terry said Lukaku was going to get 20 plus goals. I did. Do you know what's really mad about it? I wasn't sure how he would do in these games. He's also been terrible still in games against the smaller teams as well, by the way. Before he got that injury and a timeout, what was it, 8, 9, 10 games without scoring a goal? Lukaku is flopped. My opinion on him scoring goals, even against the smaller teams, was wrong. My opinion being wrong doesn't mean I can't criticize a £100 million striker's poor performances. That's not what being a football fan is about. Patrick, I want to ask you that question that's kind of been brought up there by Zane. Do you feel like this isn't today on Lukaku, or do you feel it's more about or Ziyech? Is this more about Thomas Tuchel getting it wrong on the day, in your opinion?
Wait, can you hear me today? Last
Perfect.
time it was difficult.
Perfect.
Look, thank you very much. Thank you for having me, Terry. Sorry I couldn't make the pre-game show.
No worries.
Sorry, at the time I was laughing is because when he brought out the stats, it was all gas. I was like, the guy has brought in stats. Sorry, man. It made me laugh when you said you brought in the stats. But look, for me, there's about two things I can say. Number one, I think most Chelsea fans, right? No offense, they got a bit deceived when they won the Champions League. I think that deceived a lot of people. People brought a standard because I was seeing a lot of things. People saying Tuchel number one, Pep number two, Klopp number three, or Tuchel number one, Klopp number two. Like it was a lot of excitement. And look, I don't blame Chelsea fans. The media also convinced me early season. I gave up on my own team. Convinced me that Chelsea were the real deal and they're going to walk the league. And Tuchel is going to embarrass Pep as he embarrassed in the Champions League. So I think that brought a lot of hype. But now the thing about me is they kept on hyping the fact that Chelsea needs a striker. This is, I don't know if anybody thinks this. I am more scared of Chelsea when you're playing Werner up front and you have Mount in the team and you've got people who've got speed on the side. I don't know. I'm more scared of that Chelsea. I'm more scared of the Chelsea that we played in the Champions League with Kai Havertz as a false nine. I'm more scared of the Chelsea that beat Madrid without a striker. You guys seem to be more scary. And the way Werner moves, even though you call him a donkey, he's scary. But Lukaku is easy to mark because it's bad to say this, but he's the same thing as you say, Maguire. He's also a fridge. He's a type of fridge himself too. He's always there. He will stand there. You know that you're going to mark him. You know where Lukaku is going to be. Lukaku is not going to dribble past anybody. Yes, he's going to put those his way like he did with John Stones. That happens once in a while. But as Terry says, how many times have we seen Lukaku? The ball gets caught between his legs all the time and he leaves the ball behind. Like, he can't do runs in behind. While people like Werner can do runs in behind. So, for me, Lukaku, look, I'm not going to say anything right now because it's the first season. But the guy is 29 years old now, isn't he? He's 29. And this is supposed to be 29. It's supposed to be the prime years. I don't see anything. I'm not impressed. I was thinking that after Inter, everybody sold me the fact that he's going to be the best striker coming back. But a lot of Man United fans who are my friends told me, no, this is not happening. We know who Lukaku is. So I thought they were just being sour exes. But at the end of the day, it looks like it's true. Yeah.
Do you know what's mad about it is this? Again, I didn't think his game was going to be overtly better. I didn't think we were suddenly going to get R9. I still thought he'd score more goals. The problem is he doesn't even want to. I don't care about the apology. We all know he doesn't want to be here. And that's what's going to come up now every time these performances come out. Is his heart really in it? Yes, he was making some movement and everything else. But I just looked at a player today who wasn't doing what KDB was. He wasn't trying to drive his team over the line. It was very, very poor from him. We see the comments here from Tuchel. Tuchel said that he had a huge chance. He is included on this. We want to serve him. He's part of the team. The performance in the first half up front, we can do much better. We had a lot of transition chances. And I think, again, that's the interesting thing. Transition chances. Transitions is where Lukaku is awful, as you said, Patrick.
Yeah.
I don't like players like him that tackle themselves. Players that tackle themselves. Like I always say about Wilfried Zaha. You could watch him in a game and see so much trick and so much stuff. I would say on a game, on average, he leaves the ball behind 3 or 4 times.
They moan about Timo Werner's touch. Yeah, how bad he got it last season.
They moan about Timo Werner's finishing.
He ain't any better with his touch than Timo Werner. Let's not get it twisted.
Literally, last year when I with Timo Werner again, it was funny because he was missing loads of chances. Like it was funny, but like you could at least see at least he's doing something else in the game. Like he's dragging against Man City. The reason we win that Champions League final. When Mount plays the part, because of Werner's pace in behind his movement, he's dragging away defenders. Because even though his touch may not be the best, he provides an extra threat. If everyone's saying you must play to Lukaku's strength, last season I don't think we played to Timo Werner's strength. But at least he was still contributing in other ways. Lukaku, it's like, we have to make every single excuse in the book for him. The guy's worth 2.5 times what Timo Werner was worth, but he gets 2.5 more of the excuses. To me, it doesn't make any sense. The energy is just not the same. It doesn't make sense.
I hear you. I hear you on that. We are going to get Tom's opinion in a minute. I've got a few super chats I've got to do. Then we're going to take some calls here. Brexit voters will keep quiet about Jack Grealish. Do you know what it is? Look, I've said it all season. Jack Grealish is getting away without criticism because City are top of the league, and it becomes really. It isn't like he isn't costing City anything, so it's very hard to criticize. But yeah, not a great performance from him again. Lukaku isn't even worth 10p, is what's been said here. You think any big club would take Lukaku now after the comments he made? United, Everton, Inter, and now Chelsea. He's got a big mouth off the pitch, and on it, he isn't even a top 10 player. I'd rather just release the see you next Tuesday. Tuchel's comments about Lukaku, of course, we put them on the screen. It's £100 million we've lost. We'll gain that back with in the next year or two. So what's our issue? Why would we want a player like that? Nobody else would. Lukaku's first touch is downright horrendous. I think we finally realized that our squad isn't as good as we thought. And this super chat here says, Terry, which one of Chelsea's youngsters? We'll come back to that Chelsea's youngster question a little bit later on in the show, I think, because that'll take us off on too much of a tangent right now. Zayn the clown acting like Jurgen Klopp didn't fail to beat 10 men Arsenal.
You man are car babies, bro. Hi, babies.
Man City were bad today. It was only KDB that wasn't. Full strength Chelsea. Y'all too reactionary is what Jean has got to say here. Let's go to some calls. I want to get Flawless on. Flawless is a Chelsea fan. We've got Victor to come on as well. And then after that, we are going to speak. Do we talk how to stop Man City next, or do we speak about German tax? What are we going to speak about next?
Man City.
Okay, viewers, you decide. Right, German tax or right Man City for the next subject after we take some calls. Flawless is on the show with us next. Let's do it. Flawless is here with us. What do you want to say, bro?
Hello, guys. How you guys doing?
All good.
All good, man.
What do you want to say, my friend?
Not good.
I really want to say I still back our manager, and I think he's that guy that can take us to the promised land. To be really honest, I think Lukaku really played really awful today. If his first touch was really shit, for the past 3 or 4 games, he has not been playing really well. For me personally, I think we shouldn't have to bring Marcos Alonso in this team anymore. He should go and be playing for the under-23. He's not good enough. And today's game, I also want to call out Thomas Tuchel for not bringing in Mason Mount and Kai Havertz, because those players are the kind of players that will play in games like this. Look at the pass that Ziyech failed to overhit pass that he failed to play to Lukaku. 28 years old, and you're making that kind of passes. That guy needs to be gone. Christian Pulisic needs to be gone. There's a lot of players in this team that are not good enough to play for this manager. Look at what as Azpilicueta. You don't give us any option when it comes to us attacking. Marcos Alonso, the same thing. We have to call out the board for all these signings they are making. You cannot just go to the transfer market and start going and buying fancy players in the transfer market. You have to buy a player that is suitable to play for that manager. Now we are in January now looking for a left wing back or a right wing back. You are going to Brazil looking for what's his name? Go and look for a player that we have loaned out more than 30 times. Is that how you are going to back your manager? We have to call out this board, because the kind of amount of signing the amount of players that have been signing in for the past 5 years has been shit. Marina has been very good in flipping players, but she has been very shit in signing players in the market. How can you tell me that Akin Ziyech cannot lay in how many years passed for Lukaku to score? I won't even be surprised if Lukaku missed that chance, because they are shit players in this team. Today's game was boys against men. Look at Man City, the way they were playing. We are defending all the time. Sit on the back. What are we doing? Back pass, making back pass. You can see that on the touchline, Thomas Tuchel was very, very angry with some of the players, the way they were playing today. And I also say that next summer, we have to get these dead players out of this team. Azpilicueta, Alonso, what's his name? Akin Ziyech. Please, Captain America, please leave my club. Christian Pulisic,
So what?
leave.
So what's your
It's
mind feeling
it's
about
too much now.
Guys, flawless, absolutely great passion there, my friend. Thank you very much for giving us your thoughts and feelings there. I can hear it, the frustrations coming through. A few people in the comments are saying we didn't lose 5-0. Why are people angry? Chelsea fans are angry because their title race ended today. It doesn't matter if it's a 1-0, 5-0, 10-0, title race over. Victor's on the show with us next. What are you saying, Victor?
Hey guys, how you guys doing?
All good, brother. What do you want to say, my bro?
Well, it is what it is. The game's horrible, and to be honest, we cannot put the blame on Lukaku. Let's be honest, right? A striker will score when you create opportunity. I know how many times Lukaku keep running into space. Our midfielders cannot just stick their head up, for the love of God, and track Lukaku on sight. Yes, everybody missed chances. Even Ronaldo, even Zidane, you could miss one-on-one. We can't just pretend like we don't see what happened today. Everybody, in fact, all the midfielders, just like what Tuchel was saying, from the midfield, the connection from our midfield to Lukaku was poor. Yeah, Lukaku had one moment. Yes, we do. We know. But if we really want to score, if we really, really want to be that team, and okay, I want to criticize this guy for not scoring one goal. How many chances were given to him? How many times he ran into space and nobody could feed him the ball?
You know what though?
We keep passing the ball back. Even the true ball, I was expecting Rudiger or Thiago Silva to just launch that true ball, area ball. This is where Lukaku can use his strength. One time we tried it, John Stones was on the ground. So if I really want to really take a goal at Lukaku, I will start from the root cause. And the root cause for me is our midfielders very injured.
I agree. But you know what? Real quick, should a £100 million man that Lukaku is, should he not be able to create even a half chance on his own? The fact that he's getting defended for not getting any service, when I think the biggest moment for me was in the 86th minute. I think Azpilicueta put a cross in and Diaz cleared it and Lukaku just stood behind him. A world-class striker is just darting in front and getting a little touch. It doesn't have to be a good connection, just a little touch. Stuff like that can go in. Lukaku, if it doesn't go right for him in the first 10 minutes, and it didn't today through his own faults, don't get me wrong, Ziyech was awful today. Pulisic was poor. The link-up from the midfield weren't great. But Lukaku has to also do stuff on his own, off his own back. And that in the 86th minute was terrible. In the second half, he went from... Sorry, it went Diaz, it was John Stones. But in the second half, he was like... He'd take a touch. And even when players are trying to make the runs, he's not playing them in well enough. He's praised for this link-up play, but he's not showing it enough for £100 million. And that would be the most disappointing thing for a Chelsea fan, because it's the basics. You're expecting world beating for £100 million, and he's not even doing the basics right.
Totally agree, Victor. Top call, my friend. Thank you very much, Victor, for coming on and having your say. Really appreciate that, bro. Thank you very much indeed. Up next, we're talking German tax. Got some more super chats to do as well. Let's do this. Let's take a look here at some of the super chats that have come through. They talk about Victor here saying this man is speaking facts. Nav says this is Chelsea in a nutshell. Win something next season or two. Don't kick on after winning. You should continue to win, not every year or two. Chelsea are going to have a big overhaul, is what Axe got to say here. When are we going to admit the Premier League is turning into a farmers league? Prem fans love disrespecting other leagues. City dominate just as much. What I would say to that very quickly about farmers league is, the reason certain leagues are called farmers leagues is when but they don't do too much in Europe. So if the Premier League teams weren't doing so well in Europe, you could call it a farmers league. Like City are clear everyone right now, but Chelsea and Liverpool are still two of the best teams in Europe, therefore not a farmers league. Equally, how do you pick a club? I don't understand why people do this. If you pick Chelsea as your team to support, or City or Man United, how can you big up other leagues over the league that your club's in? I don't understand that logic. It's so weird. Why don't you pick a team? Like, I know a guy who's a Man United fan, and he actually says that Serie A, the Bundesliga, and the whatever it is, La Liga are better than the Prem. He says that he watches more of those leagues than he watches over here. He didn't. He's not even from the UK. He just moved here like 5 years ago. I'm like, then why'd you pick a Prem team to support? And he's like, I don't really know. And he laughed about it, and he's like, I don't get why I did it either. I'm like, why didn't you pick a club that you love in a league that you think is better? Very weird to me. But there we go. But boys, look, German tax. Is German tax real? Because Chelsea, along with a lot of teams, and Man United have done it with Sancho, we've signed players from Germany that have been doing well, but they've come to the Premier League and they are just simply not the same players. Why? Why is that, Jim?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know is the answer to that. I mean, I look at Havertz and I look at someone like Timo Werner, and you look at their first seasons at Chelsea, and you'd think to yourself, right, half of the season they had Frank Lampard as a manager, where he was sort of chopping and changing. You know, they were finding their feet in this league. There is a big difference between the Bundesliga and the Premier League. That's the one big thing I would say in terms of the energy. You know, just the all-round league in itself. It is the best league in the world, and look. I do think system. There is a talk that maybe system and the way that you play doesn't help certain individuals, and I do think that in terms of certain individuals, more so maybe Kai Havertz. I think even Timo Werner last season wasn't played to his strengths. This season, you look at it and you think to yourself, well, they've been in the Premier League for one season. They're into their second. You want to see better. You want to see them kick on, and we haven't seen it. But again, there has to be context to it because they have had injuries. They have had COVID, sort of been in and out of the team, not playing. But I don't know. I don't know if this is the right question to ask now, Terry, is what I would probably say to you. Asking if is German tax real right now? Because I think we'd have to wait at least to the end of the season to see where they all stand and how they finish in terms of stats and where we are and stuff like that as well.
Who was the last player that came? Like
Kevin De Bruyne.
Kevin De Bruyne. Okay, but he was here first and then came back. So he'd already been at Premier
Gundogan too.
Gundogan did it. There are examples of players coming here and doing it, but it does feel like the vast majority are never, even if they're never as good. I know, like Michael Ballack came here and was brilliant. Owen Hargreaves was very good, but it just feels like at the moment, or maybe it's we overhype them. You know, I'm looking for something here. Like
Terry, do you know what I think it is? So I was going to say, from my point of view, it's the physicality and the physical strength you need compared to the other leagues. That's not just the German league, Spanish league, French league. You notice a big difference, like players who make it or do well. Like a classic example would be Salah. When he first came in here, he was quite skinny, whatever. Now he came back second time around. He's a lot bigger. Look at Ziyech at the moment. Ziyech looks like a 6-year-old boy. His frame, do you know what I mean? And he's getting pushed, bullied over. Unfortunately, the physicality and the physical strength you need to be successful in the Premier League, it's such a big contrast to the other leagues where you can get away and be a bit more techie and a bit more skillful like the eye test because they're not as physical, as fast and sharp as you are in this game. And that's really what a lot of players take about a year to get really, into getting up to speed in the Premier League because it takes them time to develop physically to handle the game. And that's
the expectation different, then? Is the expectation different for a player that comes from the German league at the age of 22 to a player that comes from the German league to the Premier League at the age of 28 in his prime scoring goals? That's my question mark as well.
Just on that, you go on, David. Sorry.
No, I was going to say. I actually watch a lot of the German football, so I can see why these players struggle, and quite simply, it's not even the physicality because you look at some of the players over in Germany. There are some big guys over there. There's Goretzka is a very fit individual. John Brooks, a defender from I want to say Wolfsburg. He's a big defender. There are big players over there. Quite simply, they just get more chances on the ball in the Bundesliga. Players losing possession 10, 15 times in the Bundesliga is normal because they're all playing high lines. The ball's back and forth every time. I watched Borussia Mönchengladbach versus Bayern Munich last week. Florian Neuhaus messed up about 4 chances, but he also contributed an assist as well because quite simply he got the ball 13 times in the final third because they're always going back and forth. Whereas in England, it's like we're playing a lot more possession ball. It's not coming back and forth as fast. Some teams are really defensive, some teams are really offensive, and you have so many mixes of styles. It's hard. That's why it's so hard for the players to adjust. In Germany, whether you're the worst team in the league or you're the best team in the league, most of the time you're playing a high line against each other, and you're trying to play it in behind because that's just the way that the league is constructed.
I would say this about like some people. Again, people look in the comments here. There's one here that says explain why Mane escapes the German tax. I've lost the comment now. Did he play in Germany or was he in?
No, he's Austria. No, he's Austria.
Austria. But listen, the German, not everyone that comes from Holland or Germany struggles. This is about individual people. It isn't about German football. Isn't comparable with English football. It is in no one that plays in Germany can play in England. That no one is. I think sometimes people take this. I think people hate this conversation because they turn it into a nationalistic thing. Something like 70% of the Premier League football players are not English. We're not suggesting the English are faster, the English are stronger, you foreigners can't do it. It isn't that. This is not a political conversation. It is two different types of league. I'll give you an example. Some tennis players are better on grass than they are hard courts, and some are better on clay than they are grass, and vice versa. It's the same rules, but in a different country with different speeds of play, different types of physicality. And I think some players come over and they just can't handle it. You know, I've seen fighters go from being some of the best Thai boxers in the world to struggling even on their feet in MMA because it's not. Sometimes people they're really, really close. They're not. They're sometimes different sports. The way football is played in Italy is different to how it's played in England. And some people's football takes time to adapt. Some never adapt. Equally, we had Diego Forlan that couldn't do it here, that goes off elsewhere and absolutely kills it. You've had players in England who've been brilliant here. Michael Owen goes to Spain, can't get in the team, can't hack it, isn't good enough. It works in every single direction. And I'm looking at like Havertz. The improvement there hasn't been enough. Werner seems more mental than it is physical because he gets into the positions. He gets where he should be scoring. That's more of a technical thing. Jadon Sancho just looks half a yard too slow and it makes Sancho look unfit. Does that make sense? It's almost can't maintain the speed of the game. What's your thoughts on it, Patrick?
Look, for me, I want to say one thing. I don't believe in all this. I think, I don't know, I might be the only one. I don't believe in all this. I think the thing is this. There's too much pressure on these players when they come here. I think it's too much. Like, especially Sancho. I still believe he deserves time. I think he also deserves games and he deserves time to settle. But the thing about it is, I've noticed that we don't have patience. Even going to Kai Havertz, going to Werner, how many times have they been given? I know they're given opportunities, but how many times has it been stable? Especially the Chelsea players. When Lampard was buying these players, like Kai Havertz and Werner, I sat there and said, wasn't Havertz playing as a first line? Then wasn't Werner also playing down the middle? What plan does he have for these two players? Why is he buying them? So for me, go ahead.
What I think is the big fees that they come in. All these fans expect these players to hit it straight away because they come for 80 million, 50 million. So the expectation is, listen, we don't care if you have to settle in, it takes time. We want you in the team straight away and start performing. This is why we pay the big fee for these players. And I don't really realize the physical, the mental attributes of players coming to a country that they've never been before. You know, different weather, different food, different culture. It takes time adapting.
But that doesn't mean you can't complete a through ball like Ziyech. There's a difference. There's a difference between.
Is Ziyech coming from Germany? I thought he's coming from
No, but he's an example of a player who's come from a different league and he's like really struggling. My point is that yes, it's hard to move to a new country and so on. That doesn't mean you can't play football. There are simple, like when I see Havertz on the ball, it's just like, oh, he's a bit slow, but if he should speed things up, these things would work. With Timo Werner, he's getting the chances, he's just not finishing. That's mental. But when it's something like Ziyech, where it's like, I can't complete a 5-yard pass, that's just someone who's not going to suit the league.
I have an answer for you, though. And I don't know if you guys have watched City. I also have a video. I hope nobody ever finds it. I have a video with other City fans where we're ranting about Gundogan, calling him the slowest midfielder we've ever seen at City, and we used to hate him. And the majority of us used to say, why is Pep playing him? And during the first season, he had moments of brilliance. You could see why Pep bought him, but he was slow as hell, and they were just running past him. Like, I remember when we were in the Champions League, I was like, oh my God, it's Gundogan again, please get him out. And City fans used to say this, and they can't deny. Some of them will start denying now, but they used to post on Twitter saying, get him back to Germany, he's too slow. It took him time also. I know he came injured, but it took him time Now Gundogan cannot get past midfield. He's one of the best midfielders. But Pep, the thing about him is he rotates you and gives you time, and there's a bit of time for you to play the cup games. Why, if you go to other teams, you find Sancho? I feel sorry for Sancho. He's a baller. Let's not lie. Him and Foden were ballers. They're ballers. Sancho and Havertz, all these guys were not ballers. But the thing is, I haven't seen enough of them on the pitch to give an opportunity for them to have the confidence back. It's as soon as they do something bad, they get backlash, they're back on the bench, and we don't see them again.
Time is a big thing. If I do, I kind of disagree to an extent with David, but I think the physicality plays a part. When you're struggling and you're not getting the game time and there's pressure on you, I think it leads to you making more mistakes. It leads to you overhitting passes. Even today, when we haven't really spoke about it, Lukaku missed that great shot, that great opportunity. The rebound comes. We could all see with the positioning of Ziyech, he wasn't in a balanced position to shoot, but he went for it because, I could get the goal here. I could, basically get a bit of pressure off my shoulders. Instead, what he should have done is waited and played a pass to somebody in a better position. You still may have scored from it. City and Pep Guardiola's two things difference. City have been building towards City squad for a long time, even before Guardiola, and they build to his style, and he picks a certain type of players. Even with Chelsea, and I think you've got a very good squad. You've still got lots of players in that squad that were built by other managers. So is it completely?
I was about to say.
It's going to take. Sorry, Jeb. It's 5 or 6 years to build these squads. Yeah. Chelsea have a better track record than say Man United, than Arsenal, at doing this. But when you have a squad that's made up of 4 or 5 different managers or different systems players, everybody struggles. And I keep blaming fans. People go, well, why does Terry keep telling fans off? Because we're fan media. We are part of the problem by not allowing anybody enough time to cook. We're seeing it at Man United now. We had a Johnny the other day that's like, if McTominay gets picked again, I'm basically going to go to Ragnick's house and do him in. And then I'm like, well, if you're backing him, why not just let him cook? And then it's like, but I'm allowed to criticize if I don't agree with the decision he's making. And I get it to a degree, but sometimes it's like, let's just sit back and wait and see for something to gestate and create. Like maybe we're all just a year too early with Chelsea. Maybe this Chelsea team, 2 or 3 do leave, 2 or 3 do come in, and next year when everybody is a year older, a year better, a year more experienced, you go to that next level. I do think German tact is real, but I don't think it's permanent. I don't think it's something that can't be improved on. But I think if we put too much pressure on players, if we abuse them too much, if we make them feel so much like I can't breathe, I have to score with every shot, I have to make every pass count, I think that level of pressure ends up crippling them and it damages their ability. Sorry, Jim.
Just a quick one, just to add on to what you said there. I'm a big believer of, especially when I talk about Chelsea and I think about how we've recouped and bought in players. It's the profile player that you bring in. And I don't think when you look at the players that we have bought in from when Lampard was backed until Tuchel now, I don't think that they're individuals that maybe suit the system. And I don't think Ziyech is a forward. I don't think Pulisic can play as a forward where he is Callum Hudson-Odoi. I just feel like with Chelsea, and I'll revert it to Lukaku because he's the best example. At the end of last season, all Chelsea fans wanted was a striker. We wasn't talking about wing backs. We wasn't talking about adding a DM. We wasn't talking about adding defenders. We were happy with the squad. We was even happy with the depth, which we've actually found out recently now is not at the quality of Man City right now. But the biggest issue we had was that we went with Haaland, we didn't get him. We then went and just got Lukaku. We spent over the odds on him. Let's get it right. He's not £100 million. He's just not £100 million striker because he scores goals. But what we didn't do is think about how does he fit in the system that we're currently playing. And that's why this 3-4-3 with Lukaku in it doesn't really look good because it doesn't work. We've got the wrong profile of player and we've rushed it without actually thinking and talking to Tuchel and trying to understand how he fits in it. So that's where I think
it down to the manager to find a way then, bro.
No, because he's not in charge of making transfers.
No, with the players he's got at the moment, for example, today was a selection issue then. If you're saying Pulisic and Ziyech shouldn't have been on the pitch because they're not ready, whose fault is that? That's not down to the board, that's down to the manager selecting the game. Isn't that right?
No, Lukaku was the second choice all along. And Chelsea was like Lukaku's second choice as well. They wanted Haaland. They realized they couldn't get him. They went for the backup option. And in my opinion, like Jem said, they overpaid. They brought a player in who doesn't fit the system. They just wanted to get a big name in this summer to satisfy the fans. Because they were under pressure saying, you know, we need a big name striker.
Yeah. Most Chelsea fans wouldn't have done what David said around, you know, I'd rather wait next year and go for something. The irony in it is, you look at someone like Vlahovic right now, who technically looks a better football player. You could pick him up for 20, 30 million pounds less. And if Chelsea wanted him now, he'd move, because Chelsea are a Champions League winning team up near the top. Now, just very quickly, a score update, 34 minutes in. Norwich are beating Everton 2-0 as it stands right now. Benitez getting sacked
Getting sacked in the morning.
There's some super chats here. By the way, I'm not going to be putting up that comment about the Chelsea youngsters. I went back to it to put it up, and I just realized the username they're using on photograph is the ex-footballer Adam Johnson, and I'm not putting it up. Terry, can you please ask the City fans if he knows his club legend Alan Oakes or Niall Quinn? I just want to know if he became a City fan after 2010 or not.
Oh, do you want an answer? Even if I became a City fan yesterday, I don't care. I'm still a City fan. Do you know why I don't answer this question, Terry? Because I've noticed that every time when Man City is winning, what question you get, even in a pub in Ireland, especially with Liverpool fans, they'll be like, "Oh, when did you start?" Then I asked them, I was like, "Where are you from, Ireland? Why don't you go and support Rovers or Dundalk?" You know what I mean? So yeah,
bro, do you know
no answer for that.
Just funny, I haven't been called a glory hunter now for 9 years.
Yeah, we know why.
My whole life I was a glory hunter. Now,
were they calling you that back in the days?
Well, when Man United were good, I was called a glory hunter. Since we've been bad, I've been a proper mank from Manchester who supports a dead team. So you're only called a glory hunter. That's when I didn't know that until it took me until like my late 20s, because Man United were good my whole life, to realize that no one actually thinks you're a glory hunter. They're just angry that your team's good. And when City lose, if City was to go on a bad run and throw this title away, nobody would question when you become a City fan. They would say, you are a City fan, and I can banter you for it. It's dead banter.
Oh, they laughed, by the way, Jay, just on that. They laughed. I was in the Spurs game. So there's a lot of Liverpool fans here. So even if you go to the pub, they go and watch City just for the sake to just be happy. So when Spurs scored, I was wearing my kit. They all came, the same group. Ha ha ha, laughing. They buy you pints as they laugh at you. But as soon as you're winning, that goes out of the window. You're like, what do you?
They're all ballers when they leave the Premier League. That's the problem. The Prem is faster than other leagues, and they have time to do flicks and tricks and all that. As long as Paul don't win the title, no problemo, is what SS says. Chelsea fans saying we need Haaland. For me, we shouldn't get him because he's going to leave in 3 years. I don't want us to be used as a stepping stone. African Giant says, I lost count of how many times Lukaku was between Laporte and Stones, and our spineless right back was too scared to lift the ball over the top towards the space. Same with Thiago, our wingers, for F's sake, too. Dennis says, clinical strikers can miss one-on-ones, but this man feeds on scraps. You can't say German tax when City bought Gundogan and KDB. Buy the right players. So I think we've kind of explained this already. I think it exists, but it doesn't mean it's permanent. And equally, there's always exceptions that prove the rule. And I think that's people always look, do you know what I mean? There's always an exception that proves the rule, where 3 or 4 have been instant successes, but it tends to take time. I feel there was little to no cohesion with Chelsea today, like there was in the first game of the season with a new starting 11. I hear you on that. All crosses into space City played. Bro, if you put Lukaku in that Man City team with the chances they create, he becomes a 20+ goal a season player.
He won 0 aerial duels. How is he going to win a header? What are we asking for here?
Yeah, I hear you. Do you know what? It's an interesting one. My argument is this, though. See, as a Man United fan, when I watched him, one of the reasons we didn't work the ball into those positions that City get the ball into is because Lukaku would mess up a lot of the approach play. So, because, he has to be involved in it. But we'll see. We'll see what happens, because he'll probably move on at some point soon. Stop scapegoating Lukaku. Diabolical performance. Big up Terry. KDB amongst the Premier League GOATs for sure. Upset. North London derby is off tomorrow. We didn't break the rules, but the Premier League has rubbish rules for postponements. Yeah, look, I'm not even going to bother reading the official statement because I'm doing a space on it at 4:00 on my Twitter handle, co-hosted by Jess, and yeah, I need to speak on it. It isn't a dig at Arsenal. Arsenal are doing what's right. Like I've said about Klopp and everyone, they're doing what's right for their football club. They know if they play against Tottenham tomorrow with no midfield, they are getting beat. All banter aside, they are getting beat with no midfield.
The thing is, they don't have an issue with Arsenal, have the issue with the rules of the Premier League instead of having a go at the individual clubs. Let's have a go at the Premier League instead of
the only element of Arsenal I'm going to go at are the fans are now defending their club who were condemning Liverpool a few days earlier with play the kids and everything else. This is where I've said this on so many. I'm going to wait to the space anyway. I'm waiting to the space. What the City fan just explained reminds me of Arsenal fans. Where is Daniel? He's been I've been missing him through the live stream. He's working today. Working.
Can I ask the Terry?
One sec, bro. I'm just doing super chats. One sec, bro. One sec. Chelsea fans called our window a 8 out of 10 when Tuchel clearly wanted a wing back, centre midfielder, DM and centre back. We all saw the articles about who he was he being backed and where. But where is it? Is what SB has got to say. Yeah, you were going to say something.
I was going to ask the Chelsea fans a question. With Lampard last year or the season before, whatever, he was on a good, 16 game unbeaten streak. Didn't lose, and then suddenly it hits like the Christmas period, and then he goes on a bad run of form, and then suddenly he's sacked. Will there not be questions at some point by the end of the season about Tuchel and whether he should stay in position? Because fundamentally, there was a lot of hype and talk about you lot, going for the title this season. If you finish, 10 plus points behind the leaders, Man City, you're technically our top 4 team. And is that a good enough result for the amount of money invested into the squad? And surely should not Tuchel take some of the blame and actually be sacked for that? Because that's how Chelsea roll, don't they? So what do you think he'll be sacked by the end of this season or early part of the next season? That's my question.
No, because there's huge context. There needs to be huge context taken into what where we are at the moment. We are still sitting second. You guys might not win your game in hand. We might finish second at the end of the season, but we have got some serious big injuries, and we are missing out some key players. And I bang on about Reece James and Ben Chilwell, but in the way that we
injuries, bro, we weren't allowed to use injuries last season, bro. So don't talk about injuries. Just talk about other stuff.
In the way that we play in this 3-4-3, when you're relying on Alonso and Aspie to do the job that we need, it's not the same levels. It's completely different. So my issue is that I think we actually have to wait to summer. I don't think Tuchel will go anywhere. I do think we'll still get top 4. But for me, it's to see whether or not we get rid of the deadwood and then we back Tuchel in the summer and allow him to bring in players that he wants to bring in. That's the difference.
Zane, I think just to round your question up, I'll give my outsider view. Yes, there's excuses, and there are real excuses of injuries and things like that. The same as Liverpool used those excuses, City used those excuses 2 seasons ago. If there's a massive drop-off, though, let's say they lose the League Cup final, get knocked out in the next round of the FA Cup, go out in the last 16 of the Champions League and finish 5th, then it would have to be that bad. It would have to be no trophies and dropping out of the top 4 for Tuchel's job to be at threat. I don't think it is under any threat right now, especially with being in. Like, Chelsea could still have one of the most successful seasons in Europe. Like, that's like Chelsea's season isn't a write-off yet. It depends what they do from this point. Robbie Singh here says, Zane, from the question to the Chelsea fans, question for you: have you finally come to terms and taken the L from the draw with Arsenal's 10-man squad?
I'll answer that, Robbie. From my point of view, we're halfway through the tie. So where's the L? I mean, if they beat us next week, fair play to them. Do you know what I mean? I'll say congratulations, and then also I'll call out our team for losing to a below average team in my respect for Arsenal are. So let's take it from there, bro.
You keep believing that. You keep believing that, mate.
I hear you on that. Listen, everyone that has tuned in, a massive thank you to all of you. I'm live on Twitter in about 15 minutes' time discussing the Arsenal postponement, and, of course, live after Aston Villa beat Manchester United tonight. Make sure you all smash that like button before you leave. Let's get this past 1,000 likes. Subscribe to the Football Terrace. I'm sorry to everyone backstage that we can't get on. Thank you to my panel. Thank you to my members, my viewers, and of course my super chatters. You mean a great deal to us. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless.